kind of runny nose all week. It's been very cold here. That's kind of gross. This is from the BasetradeTV Starleague 4. Twitch.tv/BasetradeTV. You subscribe, you get all their replays to do with what you will. And I will be looking at this best of 5. I'm not sure if this is the finals or like the round of 8 or something, but it's a best of 5, which indicates it's pretty far into the tournament. So let me introduce you to the man who needs no introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyways because that's what we do when we're casting, right? It is the man, the myth, the robot. A little bit contradictory. Innovation. And as some pretty much on the short list for best player in the world for over 2 years, if not longer. He never seems to quite have that title solidly. He keeps getting knocked out by people you don't expect, but just overall, possibly the best Terran player out there right now, and possibly the best player in the world. And you'd be hard-pressed to find people who wouldn't at least make that argument. Now on the other side, it is a very competent challenger. It's Solar from Team Splice, or Splice Esports. I'm not sure if it's Team Splice or Splice Esports. Anyway, sponsored by Splice. Like, for example, Stats is on that team. Anyways, it's Solar. Who has gone kind of like about a year ago in 2016. Solar was considered kind of like a bit of a cheesy player, a bit gimmicky, never really expected to get to the finals of tournaments or things like that. But over the end of 2016 through 2017, Solar went from that kind of player to someone you're looking at like, yeah, I could see him in the finals. He could be winning this entire thing. Now, it's not, I don't think people would say it's that likely. I would say he's the underdog here. But not by a large margin. But now let's talk about TVZ. TVZ is kind of going through a little bit of a shift. These games were played in early February of 2018. For reference, on BasetradeTV. It's going through a little bit of a shift. There's always the back and forth. TVZ, a lot of the time players will say, is the most dynamic matchup, the most entertaining matchup. And it's because there's a big clash of styles, build orders, and mind games in general. What we're seeing a lot now, because Terran players have gotten pretty comfortable being greedy, we're seeing a lot of Zerg players go for things like Roach Ling timings. Instead of just getting a bunch of queens and going for drones, they're taking the aggression to the Terrans. And that can kind of set the pace of the game. Now, if Terran players start customarily playing more safe, maybe getting a tank early or not going for a super quick third CC, things like that, maybe we'll see Zerg players going back to that more macro-oriented style. And I'm not saying that's every game, but more recently here, throughout IM Pyeongchang and WCS Leipzig, thank you, Savage John Wall, we're seeing those Zerg players kind of taking the aggression to the Terran and keeping them honest. So, I think at least one of the, and this isn't a bad map to do it, but I think at least one or two of these games, we'll see Solar look for that early timing to try to catch Innovation off guard. Now, Innovation, he does have the Reaper at the front. He gets a bead on when Solar is expanding with that quick third base as well. At the same time, Solar has the vision with his Overlord. It's going to be Reactored Hellions. There's going to be a Tech Lab on a Barracks. Now, this could mean that he's going to be building Cloak Banshees. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It could almost literally be anything. The Overlord going to be driven out. The Viking should finish it off. It looks like in building another Tech Lab, he indicates that he does eventually want Stim, more than likely. So it seems like we're going to be going towards a bio play here. Now, the big questions are, does he just get a third command center, or do we see added production here from Innovation? A third command center pretty much means I'm going to harass with Hellions, try to keep you busy, and then macro up, in which case he will be vulnerable to an early attack out of Solar. Or does he go for... Oh, not even close. 1 HP it was there for a second. That will be finished off by the Viking, but that will take some time. A little bit of a breath of life, but taken away very quickly. The third CC will be scouted by a Zergling out of Solar. Important info there. So what's the choice now? Looks like he's gone up. He's at 5 queens. 3 of them roaming around. Innovation. The Lings are on patrol, which means they're split and can't be easily taken out by the Hellions. So that will buy him a little bit of time to get some more drones out, and those Hellions not going to commit. Now, here's the thing. If Innovation runs by with these Hellions, and he gets drone kills, that's good. That's fine. But if the Hellions are no longer on the field, there's nothing to stop creep spread. There's nothing to force Solar to make Lings. There's nothing really keeping Solar from just expanding outwards. So, even if he kills 10 drones, if he loses the Hellions, there's so much space for Solar to just make 20 more in its place. He's looking for an opportunity. He's going to kill as much as he can. He might even go in here if the queens are out of position. All right, he has deemed it the choice. We'll see how many kills come up. All the Zerglings have gone down. No real drone kills yet, but this isn't the end of it. There you go. 2 drones, 4 drones to start. 5. Nine drones and a lot of Lings. So, an okay trade there for Innovation. It looks bad. Whenever Hellions get in like that, it seems bad. And it wasn't great. Obviously, Solar would rather have those 9 drones. But now he has got a little bit of time, at least, until Innovation can really move out again. This is time he can get more drones out. He can expand his creep. He can maybe take a 4th base. We'll see if that's the choice soon. Now, Innovation, of course, didn't miss a beat. He's got 2 medevacs on the way at the back. Double upgrades as well. They're going to be quicker than Solar's, giving him a potential advantage there. The Viking has picked up 2 Overlord kills. There are no more Overlords on the map, mostly because that Viking exists. It's not like he failed to find them. Just Zerg players are no longer really putting their Ovies that far out, because Vikings are almost always built and almost always get those kills. There's your... Both these players chugging along pretty quickly. But Innovation landing his 3rd and covering its landing with this push out here with the medevacs. There is no Baneling speed done yet. Without Baneling speed, they can be easily targeted down by the tanks. They do kill Banelings in 1 shot before they get +1 Carapace. Now he is on the creep, but until he has Baneling speed, this is very difficult to attack into. Trying to swing in. 1 medevac goes down, but he's continuing to push forward. The queens are buffering. They're buying time until Baneling speed can complete. There is no combat shields yet on these Marines. +1/+1 is about to finish. We're a few seconds away, and if he can hit before that finishes here. Oh, the combat shields finishes, the upgrades finish. Just a couple seconds earlier, and Solar might have broken through cleanly. Unfortunately, he will take out the tanks, but at what cost? All the queens are going to fall, and that's it. Innovation, that decisive timing, enough damage early, follows it up with a strong push. I didn't think it would be a knockout blow, but now Solar taps out first. That's going to be 1-0. We're going into game number 2. Yeah, the tanks... +1 Carapace is a big deal, because tanks one-shot Zerglings and Banelings without +1 Carapace, let alone if they don't have Baneling speed, they're much easier to target anyways. So going into game 2. And Innovation racking up the first win pretty easily there. It looked easy. It wasn't easy. Neither of the... It is very difficult to explain without going into first person and detail about exactly why what they're doing is working, and so quickly and so well. It takes a few times looking it over. But that was a very clean execution. Solar a few seconds late on Bane speed, didn't have quite enough creep spread, let the Hellions in and traded a lot of Lings in. Nothing really came together for him in timely manner enough to deal with Innovation. The second Ovi's on the way. Wait. It's right there. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's gonna be a pull first. And Innovation is one of those Terrans. He doesn't SCV scout. Now, most players know this. Special, TY are also in that department. Well, TY actually SCV scouts sometimes. But it's going to be a pull first with gas here on a Solar. Which means if this Reaper is out of position, if he doesn't hold it back at his base, he runs the risk of his command center getting canceled by Speedlings. Now, is this Speedlings, or is he going to go for a Roach Warren? Making 2 Lings right off the bat. But there's no way for Innovation to know this is happening unless he SCV scouts. The Reaper will get him the information, but it might already be too late, and his build might already be thrown off by some sneaky Zerglings. He's continuing to research... He's researching Zergling speed, but very important, Solar is continuing to mine gas. This does not end with Zergling speed. That's the Roach Warren. It's not a mistake. If he's mining 3 out of 3 in gas for more than 2 seconds after Zergling speed starts, there are unsavory intentions. And that almost always means the Roach Warren. Baneling busts have kind of gone out of style because Terran players are just simply too good at microing. Also, they can be scouted out and almost hard countered, whereas it's a lot harder to counter a bunch of roaches if you're going for Hellions. Innovation sees the hatch timing, immediately dips back. He knows what's on the way. It could be 6 Zerglings, it's only 2. The Reaper gonna swing back, realizing that the command center is gonna finish in time. Very precise timings. It's not just guessing here. It's 100%. This hatch finished 15 seconds late. There could be X amount of Zerglings. Got a little bit of micro back and forth. Nothing will die at all in this match so far, but there are 7 roaches on the way. Will Innovation be ready? He's making Hellions. He hasn't dove in with the Reaper. He's holding it at the 3rd. Oh, but the Lings come in. Gonna find 1 snipe. And he's gonna confirm. Oh. He's gonna confirm in a moment. No, not quite confirm the Hellions, but it is a 1-1-1. The Reaper's not in position to see the roaches. This is a disaster. The Reaper moves in a little bit too late. The roaches have already slipped by. He was trying to block the 3rd, but he neglected to scout. And this is gonna... He's gonna get in. He's gonna see Speedlings on the way. He'll see the drone count here. That should immediately alert him, but the roaches are already at the front door. He's building a Cyclone. He's building a Viking. Viking's not gonna help too much in this scenario. He's gonna desperately try to micro, but the roaches are already knocking at his door. A Ravager even being used. He's trying to break through the wall. The repairs are good. The Viking gonna add what damage it can. More SCVs off the line. The Hellions actually doing a pretty good job here. The Corrosive Bile comes through. We'll push him off the depot for long enough, and he's broken through. 2 Cyclones on the way. Solar continuing to move through. He can't get the Lings too close. The Hellions are still burning. Somehow, Innovation is holding this. 2 Cyclones on the way. 12 SCVs have gone down. The Cyclones have completed. But the Zerglings are getting in. They'll get on top. There's only 1 Hellion remaining. The Viking actually contributing a significant amount to this attack. It's 18 drones to 17 workers. He may have killed 15 SCVs, but he doesn't have any drones behind. GG, Solar taps out. Innovation just holds. No scouting, no info, but still held it perfectly. Well, it looked really bad until he just decided he was going to hold it with what the... God damn it. See, that's why Terran doesn't get nerfed. Alright? People like Innovation, ruining it for all us Terran players who can't micro. Well, we're going into game number 3 of the Base Trade Starleague 4. I'm not sure if it's semifinals or some series in the Base Trade Starleague 4, a best of 5 between Innovation and Solar. Actually, I can look it up. Actually, I'm not 100% sure it's a best of 5 either. I'm looking that up this second while we get our openers here. You guys know these guys. This is the finals. Okay, it's the finals. I figured it out. Okay. In a command center first here on Backwater. We're going full macro this game. Backwater, one of the more defensible maps, especially for Terran. Your third base is pretty much protected in this little pocket by your natural. The rush distance is relatively long. There is no ramp at the front, which makes things very defensible, but it is a relatively small choke point. Spawning pool is on the way. But nothing out of the ordinary here. It looks like innovation, no SCV scout. I mean, he didn't really get a scout last game, and he still just kind of held the attack. So, if you're innovation right now, you're not worrying too much. A pretty confident 2 games. One, a solid, precise, crisp timing. On the other, beautiful hold, perfect micro, making it look easy. An attack that should have been deadly. It's just not fair. It's just not fair to the rest of us. Okay. Confined by the bounds of human hands and brain. Whereas innovation, as an AI, making it look just impossible. A quick third, 230. Making sure he has that potential production. Zergling's on the way forward. Now, because he went Command Center first means Innovation actually doesn't have any units here. And he realizes that. He's actually rallied out his SCVs, and luckily for him, he's on the side of the map where the reactor forms part of the wall. Not that it's going to matter. The Zergling's not there in time. Solar should know by the fact there's no Reaper and the Hellion timing that this was a Command Center first. It looks like Innovation opening up. He's going to make a Viking and then move over. Viking. So this is just a slightly slower... He's not making a Viking. Okay. Innovation messed up by 2 seconds there. Stop the presses. But this is a slightly slower version of the build that he's done for most of these matches because, of course, the Command Center first slows down the rest of your tech. A third Command Center is in the works here, and that's the beauty of Backwater. Is you can just slap that down right where it wants to be and not really worry about anything getting in. The scout comes out. He'll see the stim researching. He's already opened up the add-ons for incoming barracks. Built one out here. Interesting. I think he may actually want to flip the factory back on to go for tanks. We've been seeing in game 1, we saw some tank play. Looks like he's not going to stop here. This should be flipped over. Yep. Alright. Ring around the add-ons. He just reinstalled his Chrome, okay? Give him some time. This Viking was scouted out by the Zergling, not that that matters. He's keeping the Overlords pretty close to the chest. Two evolution chambers on the way. Another Ovi going to be taken out. The Viking should escape. A lair is already done. This is quite a quick lair out of Solar. I do have to mention. Having it before the 5-minute mark means it started before 4. And that means that it is quick, is what I was getting at. Baneling speed. Now this is almost exclusive to Korea. Korean Zerg players have been going for that quick lair in order to get Baneling speed out. A lot of European and North American pro players usually delay the lair in favor of upgrades or to just get lair tech, as in like a Hydra Den, sometimes a Spire, but rarely do we see just quick Baneling speed as the choice. But Solar has done that a couple games in a row now, not choosing to go for any other sort of lair tech besides just the Lings and Banelings. Innovation is lining up a follow-up timing similar to what he did in Game 1, but this time Solar, he's at 66 drones. He's taken no hits from Hellions. He's got plenty of creep. He actually took out the Viking. He got a 4th on the way. The upgrades and Baneling speed, very importantly, is going to be done. Here comes that attack again. He's bringing a couple tanks with it, but it's hitting a little bit later against a Solar who is more prepared. So Baneling speed a couple seconds away. He's going to try this southern angle here, bringing the tanks up. Of course, they drive pretty slow. Very ambitiously moving forward. Baneling speed is only a couple seconds out. He can go for the break here. There's no combat shields. There's no upgrades. He's on top of the tanks. He's in the creep. Innovation biting off more than he can chew. The medevac should be able to save these units. Oh, a little bit of a mismicro. He loses most of the Marines. Not most, but a lot of the Marines he didn't need to lose. Yeah, the medevac's on the way. Just trying to keep Solar contained, but he's rushed up towards a hive. 2-2's coming up. And Innovation hasn't really done anything here. He lost his tanks. He lost his map control. He hasn't pressured the 4th base. He hasn't pressured the economy. So he's been shut down at every turn. He does have 2-2 in a pretty quick timing. I think it's a couple seconds quicker than that of Solar. But the hive is almost done. Solar with plenty of creep spread. Innovation kind of gambling on these drops here, but they're already spore crawlers. A pretty good positioning. Once the Banelings come through, he will have to pick up and get out. One medevac goes down. Innovation scrambling to get damage done. Did he scan the main? He doesn't know about the hive. In fact, he's never even seen the main. But a light Zergling drop at the top, I mean, it's almost no cost. Why not? Innovation scrambles back with some of his Marines. The drop will be forced back, but there's already an Ultralisk Cavern. Adrenalings, +2/+2. And really, Innovation doesn't have anything going for him right now. As a Terran, it feels very uncomfortable. He's making a lot of tanks, okay? He's going to get a 4th. And if, well, tanks can target down Ultras incredibly quickly. The problem is the creep spread, just the sheer production. It's very difficult to take good trades against Ultralisks on their terms. Defensively, yes, but if creep is over half the map, then you're not going to be able to actually pressure any bases, and eventually they just have too much. They can remax out. Now, of course, Innovation's about even on supply. We got another drop coming in. A turret was actually built in order to help deal with this. The tanks still in kind of a precarious position. Ultras are on the way, but the timing is not here yet. 2-2 is done on either side, but Ultras just started. Adrenal Glands is not done. Chitinous Plating still a minute out, but Innovation still far away from any real targets. Still have plenty coming up towards the north. Solar setting up a huge surround. Innovation, he's taking his time moving up here. Adrenal Glands is almost done. The Ultras are almost done. He even has a Viper in the mix with full energy. That means 2 blinding clouds. But of course the tanks are sieged up. There's a big counterattack on the other side. Innovation in a nice spot to help deal with it. But that's a lot of lings. They're starting to break through. The production is under fire. At the same time, he's moving forward. The tanks were unsieged. He resieges them. Big hits on the Banes. Actually, for some reason, Solar moving out, but 14, 15 SCVs and more going down. The Lings are ripping through the front. This base may have fallen, but Innovation's main is gone. Well, at least his second and his third. He's trying to stop the bleeding. He doesn't have a planetary at the 4th either. Innovation has to push through with this army. He's lost his NG base. He's lost his upgrades. Those are Ultralisks. They have their chitinous plating. They have 6 armor. This base is gone. Innovation down to 162 over 124. Here comes Solar again. The blinding clouds on all but one of the tanks. He can keep them completely locked down. A couple tanks on the low ground going to try to help out targeting down Banelings. Is it going to be enough? There are Banelings coming in from the left. Ultras from the front. Queens from the back. Using 2 medevacs, Innovation taps it out. 2-1. Solar with a strong, safe macro play. This game, Innovation, he went for the CC first. He tried to do the same type of tank push that he did in Game 1. His tank push was slower, and he did no damage at the start. So everything was worse. But we'll see if we can bring him back. Solar showing some life. I mean, he's a very competent Zerg player, and we saw that there. Innovation, it looked like after his first attack was shut down, he didn't really... He just kind of kept going down the same road, but Solar was already a few sets. He was streets ahead of him. Where's the situation? No CC first on this map. It's just going to be a hatch first and a 1 Rax expand. Innovation sticking with his guns. I wouldn't put it past Solar, even though he's down 2-1. Trying like a Ravager push on the worst map to do a Ravager push because it's the worst map.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
Hey buddy, it's been 6 years, months. Thanks for all the entertainment. Love the music and the stream smile.
I do enjoy. Alright. Command center on the way. Now, if you're Innovation, how do you switch it up here? Do you switch it up? I think if he goes back to the 1-1-1, I like the tank push. I feel like that tank push he's had a lot of success with it, which is why he's sticking with it. Do we see mech? There has been no mech. In fact, he's done basic variations of the same opener all 3 games so far. Even the game where Solar went for the all-in, he was at the point where he was just doing the same opener. Unfortunately, Solar came in with roaches and he had to adapt a little bit. But essentially held it with the same units he would have made if he was doing the same build. A little bit of a miss micro there. Hits himself in the face with the grenade and nobody else. But this is just to keep a Zerg honest. If they try to make 2 more drones and they don't make Lings, then maybe you get a couple drone kills. Some Zerg players will only make 1 set of Lings. Most will make 2. Some will make 3. It's kind of a stylistic choice on how comfortable you feel with a Reaper up in your face. Starport attack lab here. Looks like it will be switched out. Once again, Innovation. He's got a 1-track mind. No 2-1-1. Nothing like that. No. Well, it's too early to say not mech, but based on the last 3 games, I think we can say not mech. The Reaper dies, but also gets the first creep tumor. And that first creep tumor really catapults everything forward, so it might be worth it to him. I'm not sure. If you asked him again about it. Alright. But now the creep will begin between the bases. A Viking coming out to gun down this Overlord. Unless the Marine finishes it first. No, the Viking will finish it off. But the 2-1-1, the 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport has kind of fallen out of style. Because it's just been essentially figured out by Zerg players. If they see it coming, and it's pretty easy to scout, like with your first Overlord, Then they know if you get enough queens, you have a little bit of creep spread, you make sure you don't undermake Zerglings, then if you're unable to pressure a Zerg player, and that doesn't really pressure them, you're not going to catch them off guard. And the 2-1-1 a lot of the time relied on catching the Zerg a little off guard. But Zerg's kind of learned, like, okay, just play fully defensive, sit back, make sure it does no damage, and then you can explode. You can get 20 more drones at 4th base, all the upgrades. Because the follow-up to the 2-1-1 wasn't incredibly strong. Because you sink a lot into going for that infrastructure early, and that means you don't have more barracks behind it or a quicker 3rd base, things like that. And that's why it's not as common nowadays. But Innovation going deep in with the Hellions. There's only one queen to really poke at him here. And a Liberator on the left side. Solar with a quick reaction, but he gets a good deep liberation zone. Unfortunately, the queen's over. One queen will be roasted down. Some Zerglings come up to take her place. Another Hellion? No, not quite. The Liberator has fallen. 60 drones right now out of Solar and counting. 5 Hellions will survive. And behind this, I zoned out for a second. Behind this, it looks like we're going to have... He hasn't built another tank, so only one tank so far. But a bit of a medevac follow-up. The 3rd base is being taken quite early by Innovation. He's been pretty greedy here. He's adding on 2 more barracks. The upgrades within a second of each other. They take the same amount of time to complete. And both of them within 1 second. So the upgrades are about as much of a non-issue as you could factor in here. But the upgrades are kind of different in how they're used. For example, having +1 weapons on your Marines is more important than having +1 attack on your Zerglings and Banelings in these early exchanges. It kind of depends on whether you're going to be the aggressor or the defender, but that Carapace upgrade on the Zerglings and Banelings will keep them alive against the tanks, for example. So that really factors in. But overall, you want to get your upgrades as quick as possible and keep up on them, because maybe if you have a little bit of a timing, you're going to be considerably more cost-effective than your opponent. 2-2 Marine Marauder is way better than 1-1 Ling Bane, whereas 2-2 Ling Bane doesn't really have to care if Marine Marauder tries to get on the creep because it'll just smash it. Solar's up to 65 drones, not that many. Does he have an infestation pit? He does not. He's actually only on... Okay, he's on 4 gas geysers now. He's on 4 bases, but Innovation's starting to lay on the pressure. There's a Viking on the right side. This is a Dropper Lord. Some Zerglings trying to get into it. Looks like the drop trying to take out some of the creep. This is the stage of the game. Innovation doesn't have the muscle to attack. But Solar doesn't have anything that can really kill medevacs reliably. Queens can chase, but that's about all they can do. The Dropper Lord was shut down on the right side. We do see the Marines being driven back. The medevacs on the way back. A Hive is on the way. That's the timer once again. Once the Hive finishes, Vipers, Ultras, Adrenal Glands are all open to Solar. A Baneling drop is coming in. Innovation at 73 workers. This base is pretty exposed. He has vision with the depot, but he's microing on the other side of the map. Will Innovation be looking? A huge counterattack as well. That hurt him badly last game. The drop is coming in. Innovation not paying attention. 5, 6, 9, 12 SCVs. Good damage there as well. A Viking coming in to try to deal with this. It will finish it off. Solar is waiting. There's no reason to send this in now. Innovation has been driven back. He's defended at the front. Only when Innovation commits his army to the other side of the map does Solar send this attack in. tanks being caught. That's a beautiful count. Oh my god, the tanks. That's a huge deal. The tanks are a very important part of this push, and he just took out half of them. The Zerglings, but they're caught in the squares. He's trying to roll through. The Marauders in front will tank a lot of the damage, ironically enough. He's on top of a couple more tanks. We'll try to finish one off. No. So Solar threw a lot of weight. A good start, a good catch. Ultra's Cavern. There's no Hive Tech kicking in yet. Thank you.
Rewarded.
There's no Viper yet. Innovation with a good push. Solar doesn't quite have what he needs here. He's giving up this base. He's giving up position, but at the same time, he's flanking in from the back and the front. The creep will help him on the way there. If only there were a few more tanks. But innovation being rolled from both sides. He's chased back across the map. He's trying to take okay trades. All the medevacs will survive, of course, because there is no anti-air. Liberators will siege up. Innovation actually really late on the 2-2. I'm not sure what happened here. Why is his 2-2? He finished the armory in a timely manner, but Innovation's 2-2 is not even halfway done when Solar's is done. At 1-1, they were even. That's a big mistake out of Innovation. He scans, he sees the Spire and the Ultralisk Cavern, and the Hive's obviously already done. So the lack of upgrades is going to hurt badly. He can't take, like, he needs to be on the map fighting now. He needs to try to take these trades. But without the upgrades, even the Ling Bane's going to trade well. And the Ultralisk, of course, not going to make it any easier. Baneling drop, rolling over to the side. The creep spread is halfway across the map. But Innovation is maxed out. He's got a huge amount of army supply. 138 is the count. He's setting up the Liberators. We have 6 on the field right now, and they're all here with this army. He has them hotkeyed individually so he can target Ultras and really punch through that armor with the Concord cannons. Another group coming through. Banelings on the right and attack a huge amount of Zerglings from the front. The tanks are trapped behind the depots. Innovation has built a wall of sorts, but the tanks are not sieging up on the other side. Will he siege up? He doesn't have them selected, unfortunately. At the same time, Innovation trying to push through the front. Banelings are connecting. Viper's pulling out some of the Liberators. Ultralists are vanishing from underneath, but so is most of the bio. Innovation taking a lot of damage. This counterattack breaking through the wall. Some tanks at the back line, unfortunately not sieged throughout this. The Liberator trying its best, but its best might not be good enough. Innovation thrown back on the other side. He has almost no ground units left. There are plenty of Liberators, but the Liberators won't win the game on their own. 13 SCVs going down, and that won't be the end of it. More Banelings can roll through on the right side. Some reinforcements come out. Banelings rolling in as well. Going into the mineral line. There are so many SCVs vulnerable. 23 have gone down. 24 is the count, and we're not done yet. Innovation continuing to move forward, but it's 102, 101 to 123 supply. The first Corruptor is about to come out on the field. Innovation going to be forced into retreat. The Parasitic Bomb doing damage as well. This Viking has 8 kills and counting, but it might be the end of its days. Still 71 drones. 71 drones against 36 SCVs. Innovation didn't lose any bases, but he lost a lot of infrastructure and he lost a lot of economy. Solar just has the economy to rebuild his army, and Innovation doesn't. He's dropped mules at this base. That should help out the income tab just a little bit, as we see the mules go into mining. Giving him an option for some more Marines, but he's lost some of his barracks. He's only at 5 now. Solar just has. He's going up to 6 bases. Innovation struck deep, but Solar struck harder. The counterattack doing economic and damage to the army, as opposed to just wiping out the army. Innovation still. He's got his 3-3 on the way. He's going to have those maxed out upgrades. He has a lot of Liberators here. This isn't over yet. He's catching up on supply. He sees the bases are coming up. So we're still looking for an opportunity. There's a planetary. Another round of Baneling Solar. I mean, if you let him get back up to 200 supply, with that many SCVs, his army is going to be fearsome. He's already at 120. Innovation actually pulling ahead in army supply, but he does have the obligation to attack against a player who has a comfortable economy, because Solar can max out, take a fight, and then max out again. Oh, a parasitic bomb hits the Liberators as they're sieging, doing so much damage. He's forced to try to unsiege away. Everything's softened up here. He has to go all the way into the heart of the swarm. There's creep everywhere. Sieging up on the squares. Innovation without any real tanks behind this. He has 3 tanks. They're on the other side of the map. A Baneling drop took out 5 workers, or maybe a Zergling drop. I don't know. Not critical damage. Solar is actually supply blocked at 194. The army supplies in favor of Innovation. He's in the squares. The Ultralisk can't engage in the squares. He's using the squares against it, but here come the Queens. There's only 1 Viper. A lot of Corruptors. But he's coming in from the left and from the right, trying to engage. The Liberators are sieged up everywhere. The Corruptors are trying to work through. The tanks are tanking the damage. The Liberators doing a great job. The Marines in the squares doing their best. But Solar, he's cleaned out all the bio underneath. 1 Ultra survives. Marines are trying to come up to save these Liberators. I don't know if it's going to be enough. That 1 Ultra is still so incredibly scary. Innovation's air control going to fail. The Ultralisk will be transfused, and 1 Ultralisk is more than a match for these Marines until they retreat to the squares. Unfortunately, the Zerglings can still get to them. GG. Innovation will tap out, and Solar will draw it even. Those counterattacks are just killing him. Solar's counterattacks always at the right, killing army and killing economy. Innovation takes good fights. He kills the army, but he doesn't get to the economy in time. And we're ending it on a Biogenesis. It's a best of 5. Next, Victor is the winner of the BasetradeTV Starleague 4. Or BasetradeTV Starleague Elite 4. I'm not sure which one it is. But in the bottom right, taking 2 games in a row, it is from Splice. Solar. And in the top left, showing signs of weakness. Innovation. Now, we're on a Biogenesis, which is the smallest map in the pool. It's simply a rush map. Is what it comes down to. We'll have to see. Does Innovation try to take it to Solar? He's played essentially the same build and the same style in every game. Solar is going for the pool first, but then again, on a map like this, cheesing is almost like a standard play. This isn't really cheesy if you can get across the map this quickly and be vulnerable that quickly. It is going to be the gas again. Is it going to be a Roach all-in again? The last time we saw Solar do this, he added on a Roach Warren after Zergling speed and just ran his way across the map with the Roaches. Innovation held with Hellions. I don't even know how, but he did. We're going to see Zergling speed. Does he pull off a gas? He's still got 2. He had 3 last time. What does this mean? He's making more than 2 Zerglings early on. I take that back. No, he's only making 2. Never mind. And he's hiding them. Oh, wait, no, he made 4. Never mind. I can't count. On this episode of Winter Learns to Count, we're back where we started. But trying to dodge the Reaper, but did Innovation get a glimpse of him? No. Just a slight dodge. The Overlord scouted the Reaper. There's still 2 Zerglings back at home. There's no Roach Warren yet. He's got enough gas. It's kind of concerning. Usually you don't go for this much gas. But he's successfully evaded Innovation's Reaper. He's forced back. This will delay the command center. It won't kill it. Fortunately, Innovation on the side of the map where he can just drop down onto the reactor. Reaper moving forward. Gonna try to get a scout. He'll see that a creep tumor has already been laid down. He'll see the drone count. So we're just gonna lose that. An evolution chamber is on the way. It looks like he's gonna go for a mass drop. He's not adding on too many extra queens for a queen drop, but he actually has 4. This evolution chamber is not for upgrades here. A dropper lord is on the way. The queens are about to take flight. It'll be like Brood War all over again. 2 Hellions and a Reaper making their way across. They'll see the third base. The third base is almost a decoy here. Unfortunately, there's nothing to defend. Innovation is wondering why there's nothing here. He has to realize there's no queens. What is happening? Where are the queens? They're on their way across the map right now. A Viking is out. Good micro out of Innovation. He finally loses one of these Hellions. But more Zerglings are forced back. He's taken out so many Lings with this. The Lings are needed to make sure the Queens aren't just focused down. Queens don't do damage particularly quick. They just do it. They just have a lot of HP and sustainability. But there are already Cyclones on the way. Innovation has figured this out. He's ready. Queens will drop. But the Zerglings aren't here to really help out with this. Some transfuses coming through. He has a limited number. One of the Queens not even fighting here. Where are the Zerglings? The Zerglings trying to come in. Solar, it's all going wrong. The Cyclones are out. Another drop coming together, but not before all these Queens are assassinated. Where is the Viking? I'm not sure where the Viking ended up. It looks like he targeted it down, but he's lost all the Queens already. Innovation is even on workers. There's a drop into the main. He doesn't have a scout of this quite yet. The Zerglings could get some kills, but Solar, a bit of a non-starter here so far. Zerglings trying to sneak in. We'll drive the Hellions back, but the Cyclones will be enough with a couple Hellions to deal with these Zerglings in the main. Right now, just Solar, he needed to do a lot more damage with that. He lost all the Queens, which means his basic unit for defense is gone. He threw it into the Overlord, and they didn't come home. Which means he has 3 Queens back at home, but they have no energy for transfuse. He's now making roaches, but Innovation has Cyclones. A single Zergling makes it in. A single Zergling makes it out. The Hellbats, an armory finish throughout this. The Hellbats themselves are pretty good against the Roaches, and the Roaches are disjointed. They're being taken out from each side. They're trying to spawn in from the bases. The ramp, he's burning his way through. Another Queen, gonna be burnt to cinders. The Cyclones continuing to push through into the heart of the swarm. The Queen will survive. The Cyclones forced back. No wheel drones have gone, never mind! 3 drones have gone down so far. An okay hold out of Solar for what it... Whoa. No, the drones are coming back. He's at 35. But Innovation is making a 3rd command center. He's building tanks. Actually, there really aren't that many units behind this, but with the bunkers and the tanks, he is transitioning into Bio. He's got a Banshee on the way. A Liberator gonna come in. He just killed the Queens. One more will pop out just in time, but it'll be under the Liberation Zone. Will he actually move the Queen? It's already too late. The Queen can't escape. The drones will, but not all of them. A siege tank blasting through the Ravagers as they try to morph. A Ling drop into the main. Innovation doesn't see it yet. He doesn't have that many units to split off to deal with this. But there's really one hope here. If he doesn't have 3 Ravagers, he can't Corrosive Bow down the tank. There are not enough units to break through here. Corrosive Bows are good. The bunker might even fall. but at what cost? The main base has been cleaned up by SCVT. Actually lost 12. He's breaking through, but Solar taps out. He knows, even if he breaks through, there's no way he's finishing this game. Innovation wins the BasetradeTV Starleague 4. 3-2. A little bit closer than I think he would have wanted. But that was definitely the most one-sided of the games, I think. Solar tried his cheese, and it just did not come together. Like at all.
Your dedication will be rewarded.
Half a year already. Can I get angry coach tips for my next job interview?
Map 1 was